The story commences with Rahayu engaged in prayer, interrupted by the sudden appearance of a figure in black behind her. Her father's anguished screams emanate from outside, prompting Rahayu to hastily shed her white robe and investigate. Witnessing her father being assaulted by two people in black, Rahayu's immediate reaction is to grab the assailant's knife and, with a swift motion, cut his own neck. Despite her brave attempt, the figure in black covers Rahayu's mouth and nose. Seed, witnessing the incident, fiercely bites the figure but is met with a blade, leading to the beheading of her father. The grim act involves placing her father's severed head on the door, a harbinger of the dreaded dead soul guard, a malevolent curse in Indonesian folklore, foretelling that Rahayu's family is marked by death until the curse is vanquished. Terrified villagers, fearing the curse, block Rahayu's house and demand they leave the village. Distraught, Rahayu seeks solace in her father's regular prayer room, donning a white robe to pray. However, as she prays, the light in the room flickers and goes out. Two evil spirits materialize behind Rahayu, and sensing an ominous presence, she quickens her prayers, inadvertently attracting more spirits. These spirits mimic Rahayu's movements, praying and kneeling alongside her. Feeling a chill on her back, Rahayu turns around but finds nothing. Overwhelmed with fear, she recalls a childhood memory of Seed, at 8 years old, dealing with a possessed body that was said to be impossible to bury properly. Seed chanted spells over the corpse, and green miasma emitted from the body, which Seed absorbed. Seed's eyes whiten, and his body shakes as he undergoes a profound transformation. Soon after, Seed experiences nausea and vomits a green snake. This snake, emerging from the black snake inside the possessed corpse, proves fatal to the malevolent force, expelling the evil from the body. However, occupied with the process, Seed is unaware that the green snake has turned into a snake-headed staff in Rahayu's hands. Terrified, Rahayu realizes that her father has been practicing black witchcraft since her early childhood, summoning evil spirits with just a few prayers. Seed's death might not be as straightforward as it seems. Rahayu hastily leaves the prayer room, haunted by these unsettling childhood memories. The following day, Rahayu goes to work at a clothing store, utilizing her innate ability to attract business. However, Riri, the neighboring shop owner, suspects Rahayu of using witchcraft. Fueled by fear, customers flee, and Riri becomes increasingly aggressive. Just in the nick of time, someone intervenes, pulling Rahayu away and preventing a potentially dangerous situation. Upon regaining consciousness, Rahayu feels guilty and scared. Seeking forgiveness from the Almighty, she returns to the prayer room, grappling with the complexities of her family's dark past. In that moment, a man is praying in the room, feeling an increasing weight on his back that presses him to the ground. Rahayu observes a little demon sitting on the man, but, in disbelief, rubs her eyes and sees the man unharmed. She breathes a sigh of relief, thinking it was just her imagination. After the man leaves, Rahayu enters the room to pray, but the window quietly closes on its own. While Rahayu is deep in prayer, a pair of rotting feet suddenly appears in front of her eyes. Terrified, she closes her eyes tightly, praying for divine blessings. Rahayu believes that spitting can ward off evil, so she quickly gathers saliva and spits 3 times. An eerie silence envelops her, and she opens her eyes, thinking the evil spirit has retreated. Startled, she pulls off her white robe, and the evil spirit disappears. However, she hears noises from the inner room and walks in to find a man lying on the ground. Her father, using his dark methods, summons a group of evil spirits who gruesomely pinch off the man's pulse with their bare hands. After amassing a handful of pulses, her father suddenly says Rahayu's name. Startled at first, she soon realizes that everything she's witnessing is a reenactment of her childhood memory. After Seed infused Yan Rahayu with his power, her eyes rolled back, and she writhed in pain. Seed had been nurturing Rahayu as the heir to his dark legacy since her youth. However, what he hadn't anticipated was Rahayu's struggle to control the malevolent forces he had mastered for healing purposes. Instead of using them to cure ailments and prevent disasters, Rahayu found herself unable to wield these powers without succumbing to their sinister side. In an attempt to protect Rahayu from the malevolent forces that threatened to consume her, Seed fervently prayed, trying to expel the dark spirits. Despite his efforts, years after Seed's demise, the evil entities relentlessly targeted Rahayu. Terrified, Rahayu fled to her home, only to encounter Riri, with whom she had clashed earlier that day. Riri, now leading her mother Bua, sought justice, and bombarded Rahayu's mother with a barrage of questions. Riri attempts to pull Bua away, but Bua remains steadfast. Rahayu, in a humble tone, apologizes and explains that she was under the influence of an evil spirit during the day, unable to control herself. She sincerely hopes for Bua's forgiveness, but instead, Bua curses Rahayu, expressing her discontent. Bum, having cast his curses, departs, content but oblivious to the impending misfortune that looms. After the villagers disperse, Rahayu retreats to the prayer room once again. Subjected to constant harassment, her heart brims with resentment. Rahayu, who was once fearless, now grapples with the realization that she might have inherited her father's sorcery. Seeking insight into dealing with the current predicament, she moves towards the curtain, only to crawl forward and witness a scene of horrifying magnitude. Terrified, Rahayu hastily sheds her white robe and dashes out, only to find an onslaught of countless malevolent spirits emerging from the prayer room, attempting to invade her body. Frightened, she flees and seeks refuge in her work at the clothing store. Unintentionally, she succumbs to sleep. Upon waking, Rahayu feels nauseous, sensing something wriggling within her stomach. In the midst of this turmoil, Bua, the instigator from the previous night, appears. Spotting Nooning shopping, Bua subjects her to various humiliations. Rahayu, fueled by anger, glares back, and a snake emerges from her body, targeting Bum. Bum's legs are bitten, riddled with holes, prompting people to rush her home. As night falls, the village is suddenly besieged by countless crows, and Rahayu's eyes involuntarily turn black. In the darkness, a snake slithers into Bum's house, coiling around her. With legs too rotten to move, Bum can only watch helplessly as the snake draws near. When Riri arrives, Bua is already dead, and the villagers, seeking someone to blame, unanimously accuse Nooning of using black witchcraft to cause Bum's demise. While the speculation seems reasonable, there's no concrete evidence, and Nooning vehemently denies any involvement. In an effort to quell the villagers' anger, they suggest that Nooning go to the mosque for examination by Allah. According to the belief, if Nooning used black magic, Allah would trap her soul, ensuring she never leaves hell. Reluctantly, Nooning agrees. She drinks a glass of holy water and lies down on a white cloth, with the villagers wrapping her, leaving only her face exposed. As Nooning finishes speaking, her eyes close, and her soul seemingly descends to hell. Confused and unaware of the situation, Nooning enters the prayer room only to encounter malevolent spirits, entities once empowered by Sem's dark forces. Now these spirits chase after Nooning, demanding some form of repayment. Terrified, Nooning flees desperately, but the labyrinthine surroundings make it impossible for her to find a way out. Meanwhile, Rahayu reaches the prayer room, and through her continuous prayers, summons a group of evil spirits. Strangely, these spirits mirror the ones chasing Nooning, and Rahayu's actions inadvertently push Nooning's soul out of hell. The villagers, witnessing Nooning's revival, are startled, as she had just been breathless and without a heartbeat. Although revived, Nooning is dazed, haunted by the fear of being trapped in hell and the shock of witnessing her daughter command evil spirits. Fearing further haunting, Nooning decides to sell the property left by her late husband and leave. Rahayu disagrees, passionately trying to persuade her. In the midst of the heated exchange, Rahayu's voice suddenly becomes sharp, and she realizes that, as she commanded the evil spirits, they were also controlling her, making her utter harmful words towards her mother. Reflecting on this revelation, Rahayu breaks down in tears. The intense emotional moment is disrupted when a severed head rolls towards her. It's the head of the person who beheaded her father. The vengeful actions of the evil spirits, taken on Rahayu's behalf, were beyond her true intentions. Once entangled with these malevolent forces, things spiraled out of control for Rahayu. Having absorbed a deathly force, she soon vomits a snake, a manifestation of the day's unresolved argument. Rahayu, fueled by resentment towards Nooning, inadvertently transforms the evil spirits into a snake that sneaks into Nooning's room. Shortly after, Rahayu's brother arrives, searching for his mom. Nooning, seeing the snake near her son, reacts impulsively, grabbing and slamming it on the ground, attempting to kill it. In that moment, Rahayu regains consciousness and rushes to Nooning's room. Unaware of the true nature of the threat, Nooning persists in trying to kill the snake. It's only when Rahayu reaches the room that she realizes her son is bloodied against the wall. Heartbroken, Nooning, realizing the unintended consequences of her actions, hangs herself in despair, succumbing to the overwhelming tragedy that unfolded in her pursuit to protect her family. The curse on Rahayu's family seems to have reached its devastating conclusion. After Nuning's funeral and a period of mourning, Aji Mbasaro takes Rahayu under his care. However, that night, the ghost of Aji appears, whispering repeatedly to Bujang. It becomes clear that the matter is far from over. The following day, Basar hurries to the prayer room to retrieve Seed's snake-headed staff. The snakes, manifestations of evil spirits, feed on human pain and regret, easily corrupting sensitive individuals to harm those around them. Basaro decides to seal and bury the staff, beginning the process of purifying Rahayu. Supported by the influence of the evil forces, Rahayu undergoes a strange transformation. She levitates, her mouth wide open, seemingly absorbing the pain of those around her. Among the afflicted, Basaro's regret is the most profound. Untaught and envious of Rahayu's father's witchcraft and his ability to control evil spirits, Krui attempts to steal the snake-headed staff, sensing its power and potential. Rei's dad takes his own life to prevent Pentat from going astray, but the ruthless Pentat still brutally beheads Rei's father, casting a deadly curse upon her entire family. Faced with his own son's actions, Imbasarwa finds himself unable to make a decision, leading to further tragic deaths. Upon learning of this, Rahayu becomes furious, viewing the concealment of evil as an evil act in itself. Rahayu channels her intense hatred toward Pentat, manipulating his consciousness to compel him to kill Masaro. Witnessing the grief-stricken Bujang, Rahayu absorbs another surge of power. She then seizes Bujang by the neck, attempting to strangle her. However, Bujang, pressing her hand against Rahayu's head, recites a mysterious spell. Rahayu experiences intense headaches and eventually faints. Upon waking, she finally expels the malevolent air, completely breaking free from the clutches of evil spirits. Now, only Rahayu and Bujang remain from their once thriving family. When people turn malevolent, they become like evil spirits under the sun.